Now for the second stage, the Calvin cycle. So during the light reactions, two different kinds of energy carriers were created. PS2 produced ATP, and PS1 produced NADPH. And while we needed light to produce ATP and NADPH, the Calvin cycle does not need light to operate. The reactions that take place in this cycle can also be called the Calvin-Benson cycle or the C3 cycle. This cycle occurs in the stroma. There are three phases in the Calvin cycle: carbon dioxide fixation, the reduction of G3P, and ribulose bisphosphate regeneration. At first glance, the Calvin cycle seems very similar to the citric acid cycle, but there are different inputs and outputs. Let's look at it in more detail. As 6 molecules of carbon dioxide enter the cycle, they react with 6 molecules of ribulose bisphosphate, or RUBP. This first reaction in the Calvin cycle occurs because an enzyme called Rubisco catalyzes the reaction. The RUBP reacts with carbon dioxide to form 12 molecules of phosphoglyceric acid, or PGA molecules. This reaction is carbon fixation, the capture of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide to incorporate into organic molecules. Now it is time for the molecules made in the light reaction to transfer their energy. The energy of 12 ATPs and the electrons and hydrogens of 12 NADPHs are transferred to PGA. The ATP and NADP can pick up more energy in the light reactions. And after this transfer of energy, the PGA molecules are converted into 12 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, or G3P, so PGA is reduced to G3P. Some G3P molecules exit the cycle and will combine to form glucose outside of the cycle. But many G3P remain in the cycle and must reform RUBP. Energy from 6 ATPs is used to rearrange 10 G3Ps into 6 RUBPs, completing one turn of the Calvin cycle. Once RUBP is regenerated, the Calvin cycle can turn again. So how much glucose is made during this phase? For every 6 carbon dioxide molecules that go into the cycle, 2 G3P molecules exit the cycle. And those 2 G3P molecules can combine to form glucose or other organic molecules. The glucose formed may be broken down immediately in cellular respiration to produce ATP, or it may be stored as sucrose, starch, or cellulose. Let's review. The light reactions produce ATP and NADPH, and the system is re-energized when water is oxidized to oxygen. In the Calvin cycle, carbon dioxide is fixed into G3P molecules that exit the cycle and combine to form glucose. So the processes of cellular respiration and photosynthesis are linked, as the products of one are the reactants of another. But remember, while only plants and some protists have chloroplasts to photosynthesize, all eukaryotic organisms have mitochondria to make ATP.